Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever and however this finds you, whatever suits your fancy. I am here with you to recap night one, now morning one, of the DNC National Convention. Y'all, I'm not going to keep you for a long time because she's running on fumes. I am going to talk to you about the highlights. As always, class, say it with me. I am not a political wonk. What I am is an expert at personal branding and marketing, even if the algorithm doesn't agree with me. And more on that later. Anyway, we're going to talk about some of the moments that really jumped out to me. I'll have for you at the end of the week a recap of some of the best ads that we were shown. I want to make sure that I give you recaps of those at the end of the convention. Let's get right into it. Tonight's theme was For the People, and that was delivered. There was a strong pull-through of legacy and what's next for the Democratic Party. The program in itself flowed quite nicely. It almost felt as if we were watching chapters. From the beginning of the program to around 9 p.m. Eastern, it felt very, very much like a smaller program. Once we hit that 9 o'clock hour, once Fitz came into the picture, the program became elevated, but all of it was crescendoed upward. All of it was strong, but you could tell that the texture of the program became more elevated once we got to about the 2-hour mark in. We saw rights lifted, we saw the American worker lifted, and we saw legacy and the path forward lifted. I want to point out that even though the what's next and legacy was lifted throughout, there was this nod to the past. Respect was given, flowers were given, honor was given to those who had paved the way before this new legacy of leadership. Shirley Chisholm, Jesse Jackson, Fannie Lou Hamer, and of course Joe Biden. In my recap video with you all a little later this week, I do want to talk about the nod to accessibility that the DNC provided through their YouTube channel. Me and YouTube got beef. I'll say this, the platform overperformed. I cannot wait to talk to you all more about this at the tail end of the week. For a while, it did seem to skew really heavy on the men, and that quickly changed, especially when we got to hour 2. The VO choices that were employed throughout were distinctly different. And what I loved was that they chose the appropriate voices for the appropriate moments. Excellent work, top tier, well done. One of the more powerful moments at the beginning, which set the tone, was a video that talked about the legacies of Shirley Chisholm and Jesse Jackson. How this was positioned is that the new leadership that is specific to the new leadership of color stands on the shoulders of those leaders that came before them. And this was a very powerfully done piece. I'm going to share with you some highlights from it right now.
I don't know what this world is coming to.
We resist those attacks collectively, and we will stand together.
The institutions of this country belong to all of the people who inhabit it.
Fueled by passion and determination and marching to their own beat, our civil rights leaders laid the groundwork for lasting change, dreaming of a country where equality and justice inspired the next generation.
We need the energy of our young people. We need the wisdom of our elders. We all can be proud to say that we are truly a leading democracy and we respect people's ability to exist.
Standing on the shoulders of giants, Kamala Harris is the candidate who encompasses the brilliance, determination, analysis, and the action to carry the torch lit by the founders of the movement.
I stand before you today as a candidate for the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States of America.
I stand before you today to proudly announce I am now officially the Democratic nominee for President of the United States.
An extremely powerful piece there. We see how the road was paved for the likes of Kamala Harris because of the giants such as Fannie, Shirley, Jesse, they all end in E. Without them, we couldn't have the moment that we are having now. It's a message that they wanted to pull through in that video, and they did a very good job of that. And another highlight, of course, was my auntie and yours, Auntie Maxine. I'm reclaiming my time. I think Jasmine Crockett will take Maxine's place down the line. What do you think? I mean, Maxine you can't replace her. But anyway, here's what she had to say.
And when the dust settles in November, and Americans of all stripes have elected her, their president, I know she'll be thinking about Fannie Lou, who I happen to know is one of Kamala's heroes. In that moment, all of us, from New York to Pennsylvania, to Arizona, to California, we can ask ourselves, is this America? And we will be able to say loudly and proudly, you're damn right it is.
So I had to put Auntie in there. She gave everything that needed to be gave. She had the sassiness at the end. She had on the beautiful green blazer. Her nails were done in this beautiful red. Maybe I'll be Auntie Maxine when I get older. Who knows? I can only hope. But she did an amazing job. We loved it. Night one was about passing the torch to the next generation of leadership. And one, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she brought the New York. She did not disappoint. Take a look.
6 years ago, I was taking omelet orders as a waitress in New York City. I didn't have health insurance. My family was fighting off foreclosure, and we were struggling with bills after my dad passed away unexpectedly from cancer. Like millions of Americans, we were just looking for an honest shake. And we were tired of a cynical politics that seemed blind to the realities of working people. It was then, only through the miracles of democracy and community, that the good people of the Bronx and Queens chose someone like me to elect them in Congress. And America, in my heart, I know from that same cloth of hope and aspiration, we will also elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz as presidents and vice presidents of the United States of America. Here tonight, because America has before us a rare and precious opportunity. In Kamala Harris, we have a chance to elect a president who is for the middle class because she is from the middle class. She understands the urgency of rent checks and groceries and prescriptions. She is as committed to our reproductive and civil rights as she is to taking on corporate greed. And she is working tirelessly to secure a ceasefire in Gaza and bringing hostages home. In Kamala Harris, I see a leader who understands. I see a leader with a real commitment to a better future for working families.
You'll note here that AOC did a very strong job of tying in her personal story to that of Kamala Harris. Even though they are from completely different worlds, there is no doubt that she is fully supporting her. That conviction came through in the way that she told that personal story. It was an excellent job, and AOC is definitely one to continue to watch. And then there was Hillary Clinton. Now, y'all, I mentioned this theme of legacy being pulled through, and if there was one speech where this was evident, it was in hers. Of course, there was Joe Biden's as well, but hers hit differently. Why? Because she ran for president. There was a recent article that discussed how Hillary Clinton is working closely with Kamala Harris about navigating this space and presentation. At many points, Hillary Clinton referenced how she as well has had to deal with attacks that have come from the opponent that are quite similar to what Kamala Harris is enduring at this point in her political battle. That resonated with the audience within the convention center, as well as those across the globe who were watching. There was something that was very relatable to how Hillary Clinton was presenting VP Harris. Take a listen.
When a barrier falls for one of us, it falls. It falls and clears the way for all of us. So for the next 78 days, we need to work harder than we ever have. We need to beat back the dangers that Trump and his allies pose to the rule of law and our way of life. Don't get distracted or complacent. I want my grandchildren and their grandchildren to know I was here at this moment, that we were here, and that we were with Kamala Harris every step of the way. This is our time, America. This is when we stand up. This is when we break through. The future is here. It's in our grasp. Let's go win it.
Also relatable and tugging at heartstrings was Jasmine Crockett. Now, this tugging at heartstrings was a very specific choice. Earlier on in the program, there were individuals who were talking about how they knew Kamala personally. And you all have heard me discuss how there has been this desire to know more about who she authentically is. The belief is that by highlighting personal stories, those friends, family, confidants who have known her over the years, we get more of a lens into who VP Harris truly is beyond her credentials. There is this desire to lift her capability, and then there is this desire to lift her humanity. We don't have time right now to go into that further, but believe me, more on that later. Anyway, back to Jasmine. There had been this desire to have her speak at this convention anyway, and that choice was intentional. As I mentioned, the whole program was about passing the baton, looking at new leadership, and so it made sense to lift her here. What was interesting is that we got to see the softer side of Jasmine. She shared a story that many of us can relate to when it comes to being in a difficult environment and putting on a front, putting on a strong face when it really would be magnificent to have someone see you and support you. Take a listen.
What I love about Kamala Harris goes beyond her resume, is that she sees the humanity in everyone. She's the only candidate in this race who is capable of empathy. When I first got to Congress, I wasn't sure I made the right decision. The Chaos Caucus couldn't elect a speaker, and the Oversight Committee was unhinged. I was going through all of this when I visited the Vice President's residence for the first time. As I approached Vice President Harris for our official photo, she turned to me and asked, "What's wrong?" Mind you, we'd never met, but she saw right through me. She saw the distress. I immediately began crying. And the most powerful woman in the world wiped my tears and listened. She then said, among other things, "You are exactly where God wants you. Your district chose you because they believe in you, and so do I." That brief but impactful interaction gave me my legislative legs, and I've been running ever since. The question before us is, will a vindictive, vile villain violate voters' vision? I hear alliterations are back in style.
It was quite touching, and you could see that her story, her authenticity, her opening up, her vulnerability, that brought a lot of people to tears, and people could relate to what she was saying. Jasmine Crockett, in case you didn't know, as well, is one to watch. Mark my words. Also, one that we have been watching, one Raphael Warnock. So, Reverend Warnock brought his full, authentic self to this moment. He could have been back at Abyssinian Baptist Church preaching to the masses. Take a look.
I'm inspired tonight by the memory of my late father, a preacher and a junk man. I'm just trying to tell you that we are as close in our humanity as a cough. I need my neighbor's children to be okay so that my children will be okay. I need all of my neighbor's children to be okay. Poor inner city children in Atlanta and poor children of Appalachia. I need the poor children of Israel and the poor children of Gaza. I need Israelis and Palestinians. I need those in the Congo, those in Haiti, those in Ukraine. I need American children on both sides of the track to be okay. Because we are all God's children. And so let's stand together. Let's work together. Let's organize together. Let's pray together. Let's stand together. Let's heal the land. God bless you. Keep the faith. And keep looking up.
Warnock brought the pulpit to the podium. He used all of that energy that he would bring to a Sunday service in this moment, and it was effective. And he says, keep the faith. There's a long legacy and story behind that. While Adam Clayton Powell was pastoring at Abyssinian Baptist Church in New York, he would say, keep the faith, baby, keep the faith. And that phrasing would be repeated by the likes of Reverend Calvin O. Butts, who followed in the footsteps of Adam Clayton Powell. Reverend Warnock repeated that phrasing, and that was a nod to the legacies before him. I told y'all, I'll be watching. A moment of fun here. because we love having fun at like 2 in the morning. Jill Biden looked amazing. She looked so pretty, so fresh, so spry. I could see how Joe is like, when she comes down the stairs, my heart still goes pitter patter. She gave such a vibrant energy. The dress color that she chose was quite appropriate, on brand. Jill Biden has this effervescence about her that is part of her personal brand that I can see how and why a Joe Biden would love her. And this is without me knowing her. But she gives off this energy that is consistently joyful, effervescent, hopeful, all of the things. And then the other thing I wanted to lift was, how did they get those signs handed out so fast where everybody had the sign that said Jill? And then, last but never least, the main event, President Joe Biden. The moment that he had with his daughter who introduced him before he took to the podium, it was quite powerful. She shared a story about him coming off of a train to celebrate her birthday with a cake at the station for a few minutes before having to hop back on the train and head to DC. The purpose of that was to show that this individual has always been committed to his family and committed to the work that he has done in office. And it was a very, very powerful personal branding story that kind of tied a nice bow before Joe Biden came on and tied yet another bow. This speech had so many highlights, and some people complained that the program was long. Listen, I'm here up like everybody else. The speech needed to be long in order for him to convey everything that he was trying to convey. The success that he's brought, he wanted to convey the success that he and Kamala have brought together. He wanted to convey the trust that he has in her. He wanted to crack a few jokes. There was a lot. Take a look.
I'm going to say something outrageous. I know more foreign leaders by their first names and know them well than anybody alive. Just because I'm so damn old. But I'm not joking. Think of the message he sends around the world when he talks about America being a failing nation. He says we're losing. He's the loser. He's dead wrong. Those protesters out in the street, they have a point. A lot of innocent people are being killed on both sides. Folks, I've got 5 months left in my presidency. I've got a lot to do. I intend to get it done. You see, it's been the honor of my lifetime to serve as your president. I love the job, but I love my country more. So electing Kamala was the very first decision I made when I became our nominee. And it was the best decision I made my whole career. Enormous integrity. Her story represents the best American story. And like many of our best presidents, she was also vice president. That's a joke. But she'll be a president our children can look up to. She'll be a president respected by world leaders because she already is. She'll be a president we can all be proud of. And she will be a historic president who puts her stamp on America's future. There's one verse that stands out, and I can't sing worth a damn, so I'm not going to try. I'll just quote it. The work and prayers of centuries have brought us to this day. What shall our legacy be? What will our children say? Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you.
All of that signature, Joe Biden. He is a natural storyteller. He is one that likes to show that kind of fire. He is one that always has a joke. And even though we have seen that something is going on with Joe Biden, we still see Joe Biden. That cannot be denied. Well, y'all, thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. YouTube has some work to do when it comes to showing your girl love, and they'll get there. But in the meantime, give your girl a thumbs up or 2 or 3. Share this with your girlies or guyies. Be sure to subscribe. There's going to be more this week, of course. I'm going to be doing these recaps. I hope that you enjoy them. I can't wait to talk with you about your personal branding style, especially when it comes to public speaking. I can't wait to have that chat, or 2 or 3 or 80 with you all. In the meantime, though, oh, wait. There's one more clip that I want to share before I go. Take a look at it. It's really, really funny. And you are capable of big things. I'll see you tomorrow.
In the words of the great American poet, Nellie, it's getting hot in here.